Welcome to our first Dutch Wonderland sew-along day. I am excited to start this project with you guys. I'm not sure how many of you did our last two sew-alongs. They were the first two that I'd ever done, and we had a great time with those. They were Crossroads and Down the Rabbit Hole. Both of those series are now up on our YouTube channel, the Whimsical Workshop. So you can go check those out if you want to do another sew-along. It's all done by video versus live like we are today, but they are there for you to enjoy. Today I want to introduce you to the project, the format of how we're doing the project, and we're going to talk about your fabric selection and supplies that you would need for the sew-along. Our last one was only a 3-week sew-along. This one is a 10-week sew-along. That seems like a long time for a commitment, and that's the beauty of this project. You do not need to commit to it. You can choose to do the entire quilt, which here's a printout of what it looks like. Or it is actually broken down into 8 blocks. So you can pop in, learn the tutorial on the one block, decide you don't want to do the next week's block, and in the end I'm going to show some different ways to lay out just 12-inch blocks. So if you choose not to do the whole project, you can just do block tutorials every week. That is why I picked this project. I thought it would be really fun for us to be able to do a project that was basically teaching you different techniques on how to sew traditional triangles and squares. There's nothing super funky in here, no templates, no applique. The finished quilt is 100 by 100, so it is a large quilt. So you can choose to, if you're very mathematically inclined, you can cut it all in half and reduce it to a 50 by 50 quilt. But I am going to be making this quilt. So next I want to talk about our blog post. Our blog post is up. You can go to our website, thewhimsicalworkshop.com. Click through to the blog post. This week's blog is all about the sew-along, how we're setting it up, the giveaways each week, what each block looks like. There's a ton of information in that blog post for you that we pulled together so that you would know ahead of time how this is all going to work. So make sure you check out the blog post. Also, while you're there, subscribe to the blog. We do a blog every week on tips on sewing and quilting, tips on your studio. We will be having free projects in there. If you go back a year, there's tons of free projects we did. We were used to do one a month for AccuQuilt, and they're all still posted. So you can get a lot of information from our blog. So go over there and enjoy it. So every week on Wednesday at 10 a.m. in the group, I will be shooting the video live. I can take questions. We can talk about what you did last week. And then that will become a video that we will be posting on. It'll get cleaned up and posted onto the group. And it'll go as a series onto our YouTube channel. So if you miss it, it's not the end of the world. You'll have other opportunities to watch it. This is really about how I want to teach you guys some tricks that I've learned over 20 years of quilting. And you can take from it however much information you want. So now a little bit about the quilt and a little bit of history about how this quilt came to be. A lot of our quilts have a story behind them. This is definitely one of those. This was designed a few years ago for Anthology Fabrics when they were releasing their brand new basics called Lava. And they are beautiful, rich basics. So if you need basics for batiks, I recommend those. I have a whole bin that I pull from. And they wanted something, as they always say with every job, we'd like something stunning. So I designed this quilt with 8 different blocks. Let's zoom in here, and if you want to, you can pull it up on our website to get a better picture. And the premise around this is there are 3 background fabrics. There is a light, which in this case is white. There is a dark, which is black. And in this version, there is a medium, which is charcoal gray. This is the older version. This quilt went off. We made it. It went off and lives now at Anthology Fabrics. And it's still one of my favorite colors because it is so bright. But then a few years go by and Clothworks saw the pattern and they said, we would like to recolor it and we would like you to revamp the pattern, which we do very often. We try to stick with 1 line per pattern per year, but they redid it with Dapple, and this is the one that we're teaching in the class. And in this one, instead of using black white, and gray for their backgrounds. They did black, white, and lime green, or they call it green apple. And it gives it a whole different look. And then they offered another version of it where they used all cool colors. And on this one, they flip-flopped. So anywhere there was black in this version, they used white in the blue version. Anywhere there was white in this version, they used black. And then on the blue one, they also went back to using a gray for your medium. So let's talk about fabric. This morning in the group, I posted a couple of things for you. The first one is this PDF that you can download. And it is actually the swatch page for you to be able to tape your fabrics to it and use it throughout the 10 weeks so that you don't forget what fabric is A, what fabric is B. I find when I'm doing a larger project or a long project, or in this case, a project with 8 different blocks where fabrics are going to be all over the place, having a color key is very, very helpful. So you can just download the PDF from the group, and when you pick your fabrics, you just cut a little sliver and list them on here. The colors listed on here are the colors that coordinate with our pattern, the Dutch Wonderland pattern. So you can obviously wipe those out and put in your own color names. If you decide you're going to make the whole quilt, which I encourage because it's a very fun project, and at the end it's such a sense of accomplishment when you get it all put together, you do need to go to our website to buy the Dutch Wonderland pattern. It is available as a digital download, or we will print and send you a copy. You get 2 choices. You can pick which one you'd like. This gives you the cutting for the entire project. It gives you the cutting for the blocks, the borders, everything. If you're going to just do this as a tutorial, where each week you're only going to do one block, I will be posting cutting each week, and this should pop at 10:30 this morning on the group. This is the cutting list for next week. So each week, by Friday, the Friday before the class, so by this Friday, we would have the cutting list up for next Wednesday's class. You're getting it early. We're posting it today. You can download and print this. This will only tell you how much you need to make one block. It doesn't tell you what you need for the pattern. So I don't want you to have to buy the pattern if you're not going to make the quilt. But this is just if you're going to do the one block. So that will be posted every Friday, the Friday before the class. And again, today this will post right after this video. This will also have on here, there's a section on here that talks about what we'll be doing the following week. And it talks about some other details. So anything that you might need to know ahead of time, supplies, techniques, any of that stuff, I'll put it in this sheet. So every week we'll get a sheet. So any questions on the setup for how we're going to do this? All right, you can always, if you're watching this afterwards, you can always email me at Heidi at the Whimsical Workshop. You can leave a comment in the boards. It's totally up to you, but I am here and I'm available if you have any questions as you go through the project. So now that we've talked about that, I want to talk about fabrics and how we're going to select fabrics for our quilt. So here is the quilt that we're going to be doing. This is the bright version of the quilt on the pattern. So if you get the pattern, it's this one here. The blue is beautiful, and you certainly are welcome to do that or mix whatever colors you want, and that's why I want to talk about fabric, because there is a formula to how this will go together, and if you have the formula on how a quilt goes together, it's much easier to pick the fabric. 99% of the time, the only person who knows the formula to the pattern is the designer. So this is kind of a sneak behind the scenes thing here. So let me get this stuff out of the way. So like I said, the first thing you need to do is pick what colors you want in your quilt. Are you gonna go monochromatic? Are you gonna go wild and bright? Are you gonna go tonal? I mean, you could really do this quilt in all different tones and shades of grays and grays, blacks, and whites. I recommend a value tool, which we do have on our website, and I will talk about that later in the project. But for now, to talk about how to do it the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to give you the recipe and how you pick your fabrics. So the first thing that I had to do was decide my 3 backgrounds. So your 3 backgrounds are your light and your dark and then your medium. And like in this case, we're actually using a color. The original one, the medium, was a charcoal gray. Once you have your backgrounds decided, then you can move on to your color recipe. So for this quilt, there are, I'm going to talk about mediums and cools. Warms and cools. Warms are yellows, pinks, reds, raspberry purples, and cools are your greens, your blues, your teals. So the pattern calls for 3 light warm colors. In my case, I have 2 yellows and a pink. Doesn't really matter as long as they are light and they are warm. If you don't like yellow or pink, pick other warm colors. Again, it could be a peach, it could be a light orange, it could be a red, if it's a very bright, light red. Then you're going to need 4 medium warm colors. And in my case, I have like an eggplant raspberry purple. And purple is one of those, purples and greens are the 2 colors that I feel can go warm. A green can go warm if it's a real yellowy green. And a purple can go warm if it has a lot of red in it, a raspberry purple. Where a Kelly green or a grass green has a lot more blue in the color mix, so that becomes a cool color. Where a amethyst purple has a lot more blue in it, and it becomes a cool color. So greens and blues you can play with and go back and forth in your mix. So again, 3 light warms, 4 medium warms. I have eggplant, I have fire orange, I have a raspberry, and then I have a red, which is a very light kind of red you can see on the camera there. For the cools, we have 2 lights, 2 light blues in this case, and 3 mediums, a purple and 2 blues. So you can mix up your color families, but if you go by lights and mediums, and the reason we're not using darks is because we have our dark background, you can pick your fabrics for this. And this is a real fun one because Clothworks picked all the fabrics for this guy. They actually did the recolor on this. And it is all fabrics from different collections. I'm so used to working with a whole collection of everything matchy-matchy. And this one has some Laurel Birch in it. It has some tonals. It has their Dapple collection. So I think it actually gives it a little more character in this case because there's some different textures and prints and styles mixed in. So I am very curious to see how you guys pick your fabrics. If you get your fabrics pulled before next week, go ahead and take a snapshot of it and post it in the group. We are going to be doing a giveaway every week throughout the sew-along, which we didn't do last time because I was still learning. And the giveaways we're going to start the following week, because how you get entered to win a giveaway, excuse me, is you need to make your block and post it by midnight the night before the next class. So that would be Tuesday at midnight. You would have to post a picture of your block on the group. I will go through, we will randomly pick 2 winners, and there'll be 2 prizes each week. Seeing how there's not a lot of people doing the sew-along, your odds of winning some very good notions, they're all notions that we're giving away, are really, really high. So there's some incentive for you to just keep sewing along as we go through the sew-along. But I had not planned on a giveaway for next week. If we get a couple people posting their pictures, let's just say if you post your pictures of your fabric between now and next week, you're entered in a giveaway, and we'll do a giveaway on the first day. It'll be a surprise. So if you pick fabrics, take a photo, post it to the group so we can see it. So I want to talk about next week's class. The quilt has, if you look at the picture, it has a very large block in the middle. If you're going to do this as a quilting tutorial and not the full quilt, you may not want a really large block with all the other blocks being 12 inches. So on the cutting list for next week, so for next week's cutting list, what I did, and I know you can't read this on camera, but I have a prop. The first, I tell you all about it. The first column is cutting the one block as sized in the Wonderland quilt, in the Wonderland quilt, which is going to finish at 24 inches. Week 3, there is a pieced border that goes around this block. Once you do week 2, the 24-inch block, and week 3, the pieced border, you actually will have a 36-inch block. Or you'll have a 36-inch wall hanging, and you can just say you are done. If you are going to only do these as tutorials and you want all of your blocks to be 12 inches, this second cutting column, I've already done all the math to cut this block in half to make it a 12-inch block, so it will fit with all of your other blocks throughout the sew-along. So unlike a lot of sew-alongs, there are a lot of options in this one. And if you have any questions going through, or you're like, I'm not sure which way to go, again, just email me or leave me a message in the Facebook group, and we're going to learn lots and lots and lots. So that is how the cutting list is set up. And like I said, this will pop at 10:30 this morning. It's already scheduled to go out. And you'll be able to, between now and next week, pull your fabrics for your group, for your quilt. Well, first, decide, are you doing the whole beautiful quilt, or are you just going to follow along and do one block of each? Then you need to pull your fabric choices for the whole quilt if you're going to do that. If you're only going to do one block a week, every week you can just pull your fabrics. Totally up to you. And all your blocks will be random and different and funky. If you are interested in the whole quilt, you will need to purchase the pattern on our website. And you will need to download the cutting list if you are just doing the tutorial. If you're doing the whole quilt, you may as well go ahead and cut your quilt pieces following the pattern, and then each week you can just pull out what you need. That's what I'll be doing. I'll be cutting this weekend, so it's all cut and ready to go, so that each week I can just follow along and sew with you. This is a quilt I do need to get finished, so I will be finishing it, but these are all the fabrics. So any questions on fabric? All right, now I'm going to talk about some tools that we're going to be using throughout the process. Nothing funky or fancy, I promise. And none of this is required. All of it is optional. And yes, all of it is available on the website. So, first things we're going to do for next week, we're going to start ourselves off right and look at your 1/4 inch seam on your sewing machine and look at how well you sew at 1/4 inch seams. This is, I would consider it an advanced beginner, intermediate pattern, but the bottom line is if you can sew a 1/4 inch seam, you can do this project. There's nothing really tiny or small or funky to it. But if you have had issues with your 1/4 inch seam and not having it come out accurate, make sure you hop on over to our YouTube channel. There is a video there that is all about how to set up your machine and sew perfect 1/4 inch seams. I use 2 tools to do that. I use a Clearly Perfect Angle, and I use QTools Sewing Edge. I'm not going to go into that in this video because there is one out there, but we have both of these tools. Between now and next week, it's probably a good idea if you do need to set up and practice your 1/4 inch seam. These tools will help you do an amazing 1/4 inch seam. I use them on all of my machines. So that is very important. Next week, I am going to show you different ways to do half square triangles. One of my favorite methods is to use the Creative Grids multi-size 6-inch flying geese and 45/90 degree triangle ruler, or as we like to call it, let me show you why. We call it the Pac-Man Ruler. A student named it that. I love it, so we keep it. So this ruler we will be using throughout the different blocks because I do like to use this to do my flying geese and my half square triangles and my 1/4 square triangles, and so it's not a one and done ruler. I do use this a lot. If you followed along in any of our other videos, you'll see me pull this a lot. So this is the one ruler we do use a lot. I will be showing you how to do traditional, so you don't need it. but if you want to try our method, that works. Week 3, the pieced border I was talking about that goes around the center block uses cat's cradle blocks. They are 3-inch finished cat's cradle blocks. I will be showing you the traditional method for cat's cradle blocks, but I also recommend the Creative Grids Cat's Cradle Ruler, not to be confused with the Cat's Cradle XL ruler. This is the little guy. This guy goes from 1.5 to 4-inch finish, and these are 3-inch blocks, so this would be the ruler. I will be demoing this in week 3, and again, not required. Just if you like to use the method, if you followed along and did our down the rabbit hole so along, that was using the larger ruler. This is the smaller ruler, and I love both. Some other things we're going to need for sure. I love using my purple Thang. I use it to help feed things through the sewing machine. If you don't have one, it's a stylus, it's a 1/4-inch guide, it's a pokey tool, it's a great tool. Marking. We will be marking things, and we need the fabric. We need them to be fabric pencils or pens that will erase or iron away. We have Frixion pens on the website. I love these to mark the back of my triangles because you get a nice fine point and you can actually see the line because it's pen, not pencil. We have those. And then my favorite pencil is the Bohin chalk pencil. We have refills and erasers that go with it. But either one of these, if you've been in the market looking for a marking tool, these are the ones I recommend. The last couple of things, I'm going to talk about using grip strips to help cut multiple pieces quickly and easily. If you've seen any of our other videos, I have demoed this before, but these are the grip strips, and again, I'll be demoing them, so you can certainly wait to see the demo, but that's another tool we'll be using. Another one I wanted to bring up is pins. We're going to use a lot of pins. I love these new magic pins. I don't know if you guys have seen these. They are extremely sharp. I mean, like super, super sharp. But they have this funky top that has a comfort grip handle that if you do have trouble grabbing pins, for some reason, the design is perfect. No matter how hard it is for you to pick things up, it's very comfortable. They are silicone tops, so they do not melt, and they just go through your fabric like butter. I'm sure everybody has pins, but if you're in the market for new ones, get some magic pins. They're awesome. And I like the blue tipped ones because they are shorter and they work for quilting. I do have pink tipped ones you'll sometimes see in the videos. I bought those on accident. They're very long, but we carry the blue ones. And then the last thing is we're going to talk about, a lot of times throughout the sew along, we're going to talk about pressing. When do you press open? When do you press the light? When do you press the dark? How do you get a better press? That's going to be kind of an underlying theme through the 10 weeks. I use strip sticks to press open my seams. They come in the short, which is I think the 8-inch, and the 18-inch size. If you want to work on your pressing and you want to try some of these for pressing seams open, they're not expensive, but they are a great tool to have to press your seams. So all of those are on the website. We have also timed all of this because we hit 200 members in our group this week, which, yay, so excited. So we offered a 20% discount this week. All you have to do is put in the word help desk, all one word, lowercase, on your order if you need tools, and you will get a discount on them. It's actually off anything, but if we're talking tools. So that is for supplies. Again, nothing arduous, mostly everything we already have in our studios. And I hope that this gets you excited, and I thank you for joining us as we go down the rabbit hole on the Dutch Wonderland Sew Along. And I am excited to see what fabrics you guys pick and what people make with these. At the end of the 10 weeks, we will be doing a blog. I will be collecting photos off the group. If you have photos you take and you don't want to put them on the group, email them to me so we can kind of see at the end all the hard work we put into this project. And I will also be showing you on the last week different layouts for just 12-inch blocks. So if you do choose to do one of each, I will give you some options on how to lay those out. All right, so I guess we will sign off there. I will see you guys next week, Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, again here in the group. And this video, I will get it cleaned up and posted by Monday, and it will go on YouTube and into the group. So between now and then, if you have any questions, let me know. And again, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, make sure you like and subscribe below. You can find the Whimsical Workshop on our website, thewhimsicalworkshop.com, and that has all links to all of our other social media platforms. Thanks for joining us.